which it stands, one nation.
Calling the July 28th Mitchell County Supervisors meeting to order. We have one addition for the agenda. We'll do it under number 9, the fireworks permit. We'll just do it right away when we get to number 9. Any other changes?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, and how about the minutes?
Reading over the minutes, I think it should be added just a little bit low. The very last, well, not really the last paragraph, the last big paragraph or that, it says, since only 2/3 of the board voted aye, the second reading will be placed on the July 28th agenda. I think it also should say that the ordinance has not passed, because up above it said the ordinance did pass.
Just remove motion carried.
I mean, we should note it that the ordinance has not passed.
Okay, I'll add that.
All right. With that, I so move.
Second.
Okay, with no further discussion, we'll have that one change, and the minutes are approved.
Got to vote on it.
Oh, sorry. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Passed. Okay, Mark, we noticed you're already on the line.
Yes. It says discuss legal description for abandoning 480th Street. It's not so much to discuss the legal description. I had a request, or rather Rich had the request from Randy Johnson, and Randy Johnson got a hold of me. 480th Street used to have a jog in it, and that road hasn't been used for years because they straightened out that road. Rich said he's in favor of abandoning it. If the supervisors don't have a problem with that, Mike Verbick is going to do the paperwork, but we just need to give him the okay to get started on that paperwork.
Hey Mark, this is Rich.
Yeah. Yes.
One thing that we might have to do is when that new bridge got put in back, I think it was early 2000s, I'm not sure. But our farm to market route map shows that dog leg, that little jog is still in the farm to market system and the new section hasn't been. So what I told Randy was we have to go through the farm to market review board and get that changed. And so I'll work on some paperwork and find out when the next farm to market review board meeting is. I think they do them quarterly, but I think I don't know if we can go ahead and abandon that before we get it off the farm to market system, or if we have to have that done first. I'm checking into that.
Okay.
But for some reason it never got changed when that new bridge and new road that new alignment went through. So our map still shows the old Fisher Bridge Road as a farm to market route, when it was intended to just kind of not be anymore.
So I guess all I'm really asking for now is the board all right with abandoning that, because Mike Verbick doesn't want to do the paperwork, and then the board say, well, we're not going to abandon it. So I just need informal information with the board if they're all right with abandoning that.
I have no problem with it.
No, I don't have any problem with it. It's all grown up, full of trees, and it has no use for our road system anymore, so.
You okay with it, Stan?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we're all fine with that, Mark.
Okay, other than that, I do not have anything.
Mark, how about that 28E that I sent you from Workforce Development? Have you had a chance to look at that?
Yes, and I can tell you this much, okay? Legally, it looks fine. You know, whether the terms are acceptable, that's just something, you know, that I'm not involved involved in enough.
Sure.
I guess my advice, and this is gonna sound like I'm trying to dodge the issue, but if all the other counties are fine with it, I guess Mitchell County is fine with it. If other counties have problems, I guess we have a problem.
Yeah, I think that's what all the others are saying too, Mark. We will have one person higher up, look it over, but they wanted to get all the county's opinion first. So.
Yeah, legally, it looks fine.
Okay, good. All right, I appreciate you looking at that, thank you. Nothing else in for us?
No.
Okay,
Thank you, Mark.
thanks.
Yep, thank you, Mark.
Okay, we didn't have a specific time down, so we can go ahead and, do our open meeting, Lowell?
No, it's the second reading.
Yeah, but can we go ahead and do that now?
Mhm.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I
It's-
didn't have
it's-
to wait till a certain
It's not a
time.
public hearing.
Oh, this is
You had
not
that
called.
last week.
Oh, this is not called one. Okay, so I don't have to close or open or anything. Oh, okay, I totally misunderstood that. All right, did anybody, I did receive, a question before the meeting just this morning on that. And I'm gonna read it, and then, I think Tony and Stan are gonna address it. It's partially right, but definitely not all of it. Mike Meyer, I see, is here, and he, where'd he go? Oh, he's back there. He was wondering if by approving the urban renewal property 3 times, doesn't that commit the property taxes to go to TIF, and then you have to go in debt to use it? Otherwise, it would go into the general basic. This must be new property being added, question mark? And then there was a question in the Globe by someone else, or comments, and this person said the county, he believed, would not lose out on the 5% of eligible funding. That would be 5% of taxable value. The property tax revenue from that 5%, if value, would simply go into the county general fund and rural basic. All county taxpayers could have benefited from a reduction in property tax in 2022. The people running this TIF do not even know the parameters of the law. Another point to ponder is, by law, the only way to access TIF tax revenue is by borrowing money. So stating the new TIF designation to pay current debt is ridiculous unless you advocate borrowing money to pay debt. So, like I said, a little bit is right in there, but which one of you wants to talk first?
I'd be happy
Tony?
to. Be happy to.
Thank you.
The comments I had made about the revenue from that being able to be used to pay off debt.
Tony, maybe you should come up closer so they can hear.
Sure. The comment that I had made about the revenue generated from that area used to be able to pay off old debt, I had verified with our TIF attorney, with John Danos, and our financial advisor, Jeff Heil. He was the one that had told me at first. But I also went to the legislative guide to urban renewal and tax increment financing, and quote, under tax increment financing, the property taxes collected from the consolidated tax rate levied against the increase in tax valuation over the base valuation of property in the urban renewal area are segregated. These segregated property tax receipts are deposited in a special fund of the municipality and used to pay obligations incurred for urban renewal purposes. It does not signify anything new. All it says is it can only be used on obligations incurred for urban renewal purposes, whether they be old or new. There is no designation either way. That's the only reason I'm promoting this is a good idea. It's because it honors exactly what the voters had asked for, that the new board be able to look at how to best use the funds. By doing this, if you want to reduce debt, you can do that. You want to do it faster, you can do that. Something bad happens and there's a economic calamity and tax valuation drops, we have a bigger source to pay that debt that does not cause us to incur higher taxes on the rest of the public. This does exactly what you're asking. It protects the taxpayer by doing this. So that's the only reason I'm advocating for this. Should the board decide they want new debt? Yes, they have that ability. But I can tell you from my conversations from everybody that's even running, no one is advocating for any new debt. Just wise application of current revenue. So I've not seen anybody asking for another new program to do anything with this. And so this allows debt to be paid off faster. It protects the taxpayer from a new levy down the road should values drop for everybody else and something catastrophic happen. It adds a layer of protection, and that's why I'm at it. That's why I'm advocating for it. So now the 5%, I'm not an expert on assessment and valuation. That's not where I've come from. Except the fact that it's true that the county's value would come back to the county, but also you lose out on the amount that goes to the schools. When we're talking 5%, it's a small amount, it's a difference, but the technical looking at it is we're missing out on some. It's not dramatic. But again, the only reason I'm pushing for adding to the urban renewal district is to provide a level of protection and opportunity for the taxpayers of this county.
Do you have anything to add to that, Stan?
Well, the comment also was made that property taxes could go down. That's an assumption that people would lower the levy, and that is not an assumption that should be
You
made.
talk to any supervisor, that's not gonna happen. There's
Well,
too
not
many
only
things that we
that.
have in the works that we need to do.
Not only that, county is a small portion of it. The hospital would have to lower their levy, the school would have to lower their levy. They're assuming that all these levies would just get automatically lowered, and that is not true.
Well, and plus, we all have lists of things that we could be using the money for that we're not. So yeah, I would be shocked if anything was ever lowered. Does anybody here or in the public on the intercom have any comments? Betty?
Well, I would love to speak because I'll tell you, I see this as something that a lot of people just don't have the right understanding of. And when I look, it's a tax increment. All of the tax value, the taxable value we had before the new valuations came about, new housing, the windmills, everything, that is all there yet. And that's what we're taxing, that's what we're basing our taxes on for all of the road assessment, all those things. You know, when I look at, we're already at the maximum on the road, the $3.03 and some odd eighth, and then the 16 and 5/8 or 7/8 for all property in the county. That doesn't pay for any, I was gonna ask Rich yesterday how much that paid for, and that probably pays just for our bare maintenance.
It pays the payroll if you wanna look at it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yep.
And then, you know, you look at the road use tax fund, and the 10-cent gas tax, that 10 cents addition goes into the road use tax fund. That's gonna go way down. People like good roads. I think that the board, and if, quite frankly, if I would have been on the board of supervisors, and I was there for 6 terms, I think that what I did, and I believed in doing what was best for the whole county, and we didn't have that kind of a tool then. We did have revenue sharing, which was a blessing, but had I been on the board, and I was on the board when this passed the legislature, but we didn't act on it because we didn't have any big opportunity like we have had with the turbines. So, and if I would have been on the board, I would have been for it. I don't support several of the things that were done with the money, you know, and people can have their opinions that sit on the board, but I think their own opinion shouldn't be based on what's best for everybody in the county. And I'm afraid that that might be what's happening. I called the city, and the city, you know, I don't hear anybody complaining about the TIF districts in the city. And I called, and Kathy told me what they spent last year, what they had available last year, and they started using it in 1989, 1990. And it was a small amount then, because they didn't have that value. And they are using it for a number of things that aren't taxed, like the daycare, they don't pay taxes. The CRC doesn't pay taxes. They're able to do things for them, you know, they're able to pay for things that the pool maintenance, anything that they did with the pool, the daycare, those things. And those entities aren't taxed, they didn't bring new value to the county in the taxable valuation. So, you know, she told me what a blessing it was to the city also. And I just think that the board has done, for the most part, an excellent job. And I think that if I were the people that are running for this position, I think they really need to get good, accurate information. And they need to understand the value of what is done for this whole county. It's not just, you know, some small thing. I didn't agree with a couple things, I will admit that. But they did help some people. Now, I certainly just want to say that I would be in favor, because the county has only, your commitment is 20 years, right? On the TIFs. The city's is perpetual, it's forever. So I think that they made a good decision here when they're looking at the individual TIF districts. They're 20 years after that, you know, and they're using the tax increment to pay off the bonds. Now the other thing is, the very first year, and it's a Turtle Creek in the first year of 0. So this is the first year of 0, so next year it would be the 5%. And it's 5% up till 30, and did they reduce that to 27% now?
I believe the law got changed to where new construction now is at 30%. There for a while, old construction was dropped to that 27% when the 10% commercial got put into place here a few years ago. You know, that Department of Revenue said that the windmills were also included in that 10% reduction, which reduced them to 27, but now any new construction goes back to 30%, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, I came because I do get the EJ Journal, and I really appreciate it. And when I looked at some of the comments, and I looked at the comment, Steve, that you made, and you said it was only to do the TIF with the wind farms. So I would say that that was being very progressive, and I would be in favor of it. And I would be in favor of the ordinance and using the TIF for the 20-year TIF district for the Turtle Creek.
Thank you, Betty. Do we have some more comments? Okay, anybody online that wants to comment? And Mike, do you feel like your questions were answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the other thing of it is, you know, our financial advisor has told us in the 20 years, we want to utilize all of that money. We don't want to let part of it go. He said that's the best utilization that we can do, is utilize the whole thing. We don't want to do it right now. We want to do it as increments as we go.
Right.
I think really and truly, and not doing it, I mean, we can become regressive and we can go backwards. I don't want to see this county go backwards. I look at every city in this town, and I look at the industry that has come. I look at the vital main streets. I look at the schools, and I talked to the school superintendents. I talked to Barb Schwarman, who was for both, and I did talk to St. Ansgar. I wasn't the school superintendent, I was the principal. And you know, they see the value in these things. And so I guess I would caution any new board members, and I don't see leaving this.
Well, Betty, we need you on a commercial for
Well,
bringing up
I
those
mean,
things.
I don't see leaving this to
And
a
the
new
whole county.
5-member board to make a decision on it, because the 5-member board, who knows who they're gonna be and how much value they have as far as information. And it is such a value to this county that, I mean,
Yeah.
you have every right to do it this year. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, okay, we better move on.
Al has a comment, his
Al,
hand
yes.
is up.
Barb, I would just like to comment, I think I want to refer back to some statements that the county attorney has made in many past discussions regarding TIF and urban renewal, and at least 2 or 3 times he's remarked that some of the things that this board has done with TIF and urban renewal as far as borrowing and spending, maybe is following the rules and maybe not so much following the rules. He has made comments that possibly if some of these actions would have been placed in front of a judge, he could rule either way on whether it was appropriate to spend the money in such a manner or maybe it wasn't. My point is, with the ambiguity of the urban renewal laws and the many interpretations and opinions that can come out from that, I think it's totally inappropriate to attack private citizens or people who have varying opinions on the use of this TIF and calling them out for what they write or say, because I think we need a better mixture of ideas in how to move this forward. So I do take issue with somebody like Betty calling out Mike for having an opinion when clearly the county attorney has stated that there could be varying opinions on how TIF is actually
I
used.
guess I didn't.
Excuse me, I didn't call out Mike for anything. I just simply said that I read in the paper that Steve said it was
Or
stealing
Steve,
from
I
the
guess.
county.
Either
I'm
one.
just, I'm reporting something that I saw in
Right,
the paper.
and what I'm saying is there
Yeah.
can be varying opinions.
That's what I said. People can
And-
have opinions, but they
Yes,
shouldn't,
and all
they
the-
shouldn't base their opinion on what's good for everything for the county. That's what I said.
They shouldn't base it on what's good for everybody.
I mean, I don't think that one person's opinion, you can have an opinion, but you know, in all my time on the board, there were times that I didn't agree with something, but everybody wanted it. And maybe my personal opinion couldn't take precedent over what the
Yes.
people.
I
for the good of the
do
people.
understand what you're saying, and all 3 of us have varied opinions
Right,
on this.
so let's
All
let
3
it
of
be
us do.
opinions, as the county
Sure.
attorney says, there's different opinions on
Yeah.
this and not
Well, and that's why,
Steve
one
is
reason I do wanna
partially
wait-
right in what he's saying.
I do wanna wait till 5, because all 3 of us are so different in our opinions, that it would be nice to have a majority actually coming together on,
Right.
on
I
something
agree with
big
that.
like
I
this.
agree. We need new ideas.
Something big. Okay, any other comments? All right. We can move on then.
No, we can't.
Paul, what do
Second reading.
what do we need?
We need to have a motion and a second on the second reading,
Okay,
and I so move.
all right. And I will second. And, any further discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call. Stan,
Aye.
myself, I, Steve,
Nay,
okay.
my opinion.
The motion, or the reading is approved then. And then we'll have to set another one for next Tuesday, the 3rd one. I believe that's August 4th. And now we can move on, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, Sheriff. Before I forget, did you get the COVID rules from Heartland for jails?
Yeah, I've had it for some time.
Okay, okay. I just happened to just get it, and I thought, well, he probably already has it, but just in case.
Yeah, I do have it.
Okay.
I don't have a lot this morning, actually very little. Just one question for the board. Because I got 2 fireworks permits this morning. Sometimes, like recently, I was contacted on a Friday that somebody wants to shoot fireworks on a Saturday night. Do you want me to give them the green light to do that because they've notified my office, or do you want me to tell them no and call their supervisor?
I would have no problem with you going ahead, giving the green light. I mean, you know who's asking, as long as they, say that they have liability insurance or they're covered that way. We have never turned anybody down. Matter of fact, this last 3rd of July, I believe it was, when I was driving back from my river property, I think I saw about 5 different places that were shooting them off, and I know we've only issued 2 permits.
I just, whatever the
But, you know,
board's,
we
whatever the
never-
wishes are.
I trust your common sense with making a decision on something like that.
And yeah,
Okay,
we've never refused anybody, I don't believe.
right, and some
I
folks
think we
just,
might have once, just because it wasn't our jurisdiction.
Since I've been here though.
Yeah, but I mean, it
And
wasn't
I
our
think
jurisdiction.
yeah, we talked about that, being careful about not being like
Because somebody
in
like
town
within
or
the city
something.
had asked for a permit and we
Yeah.
weren't allowed to, that was the
Vaguely
only thing.
remember
Common
some
sense.
of that, yeah.
okay,
Okay.
so now I'll tell you that's what I did.
Okay.
I had one last weekend, and they called on Friday, wanted to shoot Saturday night, and I just said, now that I'm aware of it, go ahead and do it, and I'll discuss with the board on Tuesday.
Okay.
So I'll just continue to do that, and if there's an issue, that's fine. I don't have anything else for you guys, and if anybody has questions for me, happy to answer them like always.
Okay, well, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Rich's county engineer report.
Not a lot. I know we talked about the 480th Street thing, and I know that we have to have a resolution and a document written for the Farm to Market Review Board. I just got information that their next meeting will be in December. I don't know whether that'll hold anything up as far as a property transfer or not. And to me, it's kind of a thing that we've already kind of assumed has taken place, but the Farm to Market Review Board puts out maps and the DOT has all that information, so we haven't really spent any money on, any farm to market money on that stretch of road that isn't in the system, but if the process is in the works, I don't see there would be a problem with it at all. We're finishing up on our annual roadway striping, and then I do have a final pay request to get signed for the Stacyville Bridge project that was done, last year, I think it was. So if I could get final signature so I can get that turned into the DOT and we can start closing that project out. That would be great. I just need all the sheets signed by the chair underneath.
Okay.
Here's
Okay, all right. Can you give me a few minutes to
Yeah.
actually look it over and
Oh,
then
that's
I'll
fine. Yep.
get it to you? Do you have anything else for us?
Other than, we're getting more requests for, I have another request for placing conduits, tiles, whatever you wanna call them, underneath the road to run, liquid manure piping under the road. And our past practice has always been, it's up to the people wanting to use it to pay for everything. There's been a request of whether the county should participate in any costs. And the reason being is that there's a benefit to the county for not having those heavy loads on the roads. However, we aren't saying they can't run them on the roads. I guess it's up to the board what they want to decide. We don't have a hardcore policy. I know we've tried to put one together once, but we didn't, for some reason, nobody really wanted to approach the hardcore ordinance or policy, but the practice has been, put something in the ground, it's your cost, your maintenance, and we'll make sure that it meets requirements that we need in secondary roads. So I guess the question is, from the individual that submitted, is the county willing to pay for any of this work? Like I said, we haven't in the past, so I guess I don't know if we can change midstream from since we don't have a policy, but a standard practice that we've been following, where do we make that decision? If we had a policy in place, a hardcore written policy, it'd be a lot easier to follow than not having something and just, not.
I don't recall that, we ever paid for anything just so that they can,
We haven't,
no.
no.
I mean,
Our
we've
po-
always allowed, like, if there was a culvert there, that they could utilize
Yep.
that culvert.
in these instances now, there's locations where they need to cross roads where there aren't current culverts. And we've had other people do it too in the past, and the practice has been, you pay, you let us know where you're gonna put it, keep it at least a foot above the flow line of the ditch. It's your maintenance to take care of, and then what we have been doing, I believe we've been doing, is calling that a utility crossing, where it's kind of treated similar to a boring under the road for a electrical service or a water service or a gas service, something like that, because it is a private service of some sort. So that was the question approach to me. I thought I'd bring it up and have, see what everybody else's thoughts were on it. But
I don't see any
the practice-
reason we should be paying for any of it.
Same here.
I mean, it does.
Should not be at our expense.
It does help our roads, not having those heavy
Well,
loads,
they don't have to
but
haul fuel, they don't have fuel expense.
right, yep.
That's a
So
two-way.
there's more to it. So thank you, Barb.
Yes, it should be maintained.
So
They put it in, at your specifications, and they maintain it.
yeah,
In the event that it caves in or deteriorates or fire burns the plastic out, it should be their expense to replace that.
if that's the consensus, then that's the same practice will continue. Unless you guys want a policy put together, we can create something.
No.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, have you guys looked at the auditor's report yet, their quarterly one? This is on the revenue breakdown of the fees.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, and I'll just tell people, it just talks about how much they brought in for internet map copies, liquor license, beer permits, and then some miscellaneous fees. The total was $967.50. With no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the auditor's quarterly report of revenue is approved, and then we've got the recorders.
And I shall move to approve the recorder's quarterly report.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And her report is approved. And hers is a collection of what she's received, things like for hunting and fishing fees and licenses and copies and, oh gosh, boat titles, that kind of thing. Okay, those fireworks permits, we do have two. Joel Nickerson of St. Ansgar and Taylor Hanson of St. Ansgar, both of them. Are you guys okay with it?
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Okay, with no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those permits are fine. And I'll give some meeting reports. The Northeast Iowa Workforce Area CEO meeting. We reviewed draft number 5 of our shared liability with approximately 15 more changes. This was sent to all our county attorneys, and they want me to get back by August 4th, and Mark already told me what he thought today. And then we'll be passing it to Mike Witt, who's with the State Workforce Development. And we did not get past number 1 on our agenda in 2.25 hours. So we have a meeting at least every 2 weeks, if not every week. So let's see. Then I had County Social Services, which was close to 3 hours long in Mason City, and we discussed how the HR committee, which I'm part of, has been receiving applications for the CEO position, and we set up a timeline for reviewing the apps, interviewing, and decision-making. We spoke a long period with Department of Human Services due to two supervisors suggesting that we should divide into two regions. Now, I notice I didn't say two counties because it was supervisors in their county and their other supervisors did not necessarily agree with them. Their other fellow supervisors felt the same as the rest of us, that we should not divide into two. We are very concerned that dividing into two, that we'll end up with less services for the people. That's really our big concern. But because of these concerns by these two people, that this has led to the Department of Human Services wanting to know our current services, the number served in each county, current plans to fulfill those services, and the number of those served. So we're taking care of answering all their questions. And one of our people suggested that they also ask about people's satisfaction with what they're getting for services. DHS said that they want to base their decisions on data, not emotion. Black Hawk County Sheriff requested funding for crisis intervention training, and each sheriff should be contacted so that at least one could attend from each county, as it's only for about 25 people. And we were informed that there's an aluminum can shortage due to increased soda and beer drinking. There's an increase in substance abuse. Suspected child abuse is up, but we're not really positive because usually it's the schools that report that, and the schools have been closed. And same with the daycares, they would have reported. And families have so stressed that there is domestic violence also, a lot of crisis calls coming in, and suicide is even an issue. We decided to wait before contracting with Elevate, from who Bob Lincoln is heading that now, until we have some more information for them, from them. As far as revenue Medicaid, we had a low reimbursement, but that will work itself out. And I believe I have one more. The County Social Service HR Committee then, there were 6 of us that met for 2 hours in Waterloo, and we narrowed down more than 140 applicants down to 5 to interview with 1 alternate in case somebody's already taken a job or whatever. And that's all I got.
Okay, I have a Boyd Mitchell Chickasaw landfill meeting. It's a special meeting. It consisted of 5 individuals: Cindy Landau, Tim Zoll, Jerry Yeager, Al Anhorn, and Steve Smollick. And Joe Voigtlander was there at the meeting also. And this was a discussion on whether to hire a director out at the landfill, or what our options were. And we discussed, we had 3 at the moment options. One was to keep Joe and renew every 6 months. He said he would stay another 6 months. Another option was to hire a full-time director. And the third option was to pay someone to be director. We discussed to bring in a full-time director would be about $65,000 salary. Everything is working fine at the moment with Joe. If we did hire somebody, we'd have to wait until someone quits at the landfill or retires, and then we'd be able to hire a director. It was also discussed that it would not work if we hired one of the current employees in-house. There would be some bickering in the issue. So that was discussed, and our recommendation was to have a working director who could run equipment in the event of an employee was gone, so he wouldn't just be sitting in the office. He could be out helping, you know.
I was gonna say, if you said that you didn't wanna hire anybody until someone quit, it'd have to be a working one then, because you would miss that person that was actually working.
Correct, correct. The pay would have to be a salary, it wouldn't be by hours. And also, that person would have a set amount of hours. They would have to be there for 35 or 40 hours a week. Anyways, after discussing this, bouncing it back and forth for an hour, it was discussed that for the moment now, we will still continue to keep Joe there, but down the road, if in the event that we have somebody quits, then I think that might happen where we will send applications out with what our wants and needs and desires would be for the landfill director. Anyways,
Okay.
that was my meeting.
I didn't have anything formal, but I did go down to Prison Industries last week and take a
That's
look
what I
at.
thought, I'm curious on that.
Yeah, they had basically 10 houses in production there, and 9 of them were already sold. For the amount of money that they're, how do I want to put it? For the amount of money that they are spending in that, they really do have a quality house. I mean, they're 2x6 walls. The one was open to where there's no sheetrock, no insulation yet. You can see all of the wiring, so on and so forth. Those things are 24 foot wide by, I believe, 48 feet long. And so in order to transport them, they're gonna have to close roads and that in a lot of areas just to get them down the highway. But in any
So,
event,
Stan, it isn't a
No, it's
split,
not a-
it's a one unit.
one unit.
Okay.
And so that makes it, you know, that there really isn't a lot of work to be done to the house per se when it gets here at the site. And the only thing that's really needed, my understanding is that carpet, you know, they don't put the carpet in. And, but otherwise, it's ready to go. I had the contact information on who to contact down there in case anybody is interested. And next year, they're gonna try to have 100 of them. And of course, part of the program, excuse me, that's really, in my thinking, that is good, is that they don't want these people that are working on these houses, when they get released, they don't want them coming back to prison. That's really the purpose of the whole program, that it costs them a lot of money to house these people and so on and so forth. They want to have a good job that they can go
That's
to.
great.
So, you know, you're looking at carpenters, plumbers, electricians. And so that's something up in this area I've explained to a couple of our carpenter crews. You know, if you're lacking somebody, contact Prison Industries. I mean, they don't put just anybody into the program. You have to basically have a good background check to make sure you have a work ethic, so on and so forth. I mean, they want this thing to succeed. And so,
Well, sometimes that's all they need is something for their self-esteem and learning a skill and then being able to actually have a job.
right.
That can prevent a lot of crime.
And I did have to chuckle there because I'm coming out of one of those houses and I got my dark glasses on, I got my mask on and that, and I look at this short little lady there, and it's Debbie Durham. She hollers, "Hi, Stan." She can recognize me through that. You know, she's the State Economic Development Director, and I've dealt with her many a time before. And
Okay,
that, so
yeah, I've never won.
The other thing that I've been working on is I've been helping county conservation. When you mentioned about cans, the statement wasn't quite correct, Barb. We probably aren't having more drinking. What's happening is because the restaurants were closed and that, you couldn't be getting a beer from a keg in that. So that people are drinking probably the same amount, but they're drinking at home. And so therefore, but in any event,
Well, I think they actually do believe that they are drinking a little more from not working.
well, that might, but in any event, been helping them sort cans, bottles and that. They've been, took one load down to, Nashua. That's the only redemption center that, is working right now in our area. And, trailer load, it was a fairly big trailer load. And,
When did you do that?
we could, 2 weeks ago?
Okay, because I had one person call in and complain that they thought it was really a mess out there where the cans were.
Well, yeah, it is, but, again, Adam, he tried to utilize, employees when there's, nothing else. I shouldn't say nothing else, but I mean, he can't justify having a $23 an hour person, sorting cans, just to sort cans. I mean, you know, if it's raining, they can't be doing something else, then they, put them into the can thing.
I just left a message for him telling him
And,
yesterday.
Last week then I did sort, I helped box up bottles and that. We got a whole trailer load of bottles. Got down to Nashua and I don't know how that lady's ever gonna get caught up. She had probably piles 80 times the amount of what was in that trailer outside. I mean, that, she's getting cans from everywhere, and of course, then she's having problems with the distributors and so on and so forth. But in any
I can only
event,
imagine.
I'm gonna go out there today again and sort cans and sort bottles and that, help them out. The other thing that I wanna mention is that, our Nightcard meeting is normally the second Monday of the month. Because of a conflict that one board member has, we're gonna be meeting next Monday. And we're gonna go through the applications for the new director next Monday. And
But you're
so-
not gonna change every month to that?
No, it just
Just that one
happens to be, like I say, because this director wanted to be part of that process of looking through the applications of picking out a new director, you know, setting up interviews and so on and so forth. We will be holding it next Monday.
Is that with Joe retiring or?
Yeah, Joe's retiring,
Yeah,
end of the year.
I heard that.
So, and it's gonna be hard to replace him. He's very, very good.
He's been there a long time and yes, he is good. Yeah. I used to serve on that board years ago. Just back to your housing, I was really enthused about that, but if they have to close roads, we're so far from there that makes that pretty hard for us to even think
Well,
about.
but they're planning on trying to get one for each county in the state next year. And of course, if, let's just say, Howard County, nobody's interested in Howard County, that gives somebody else an opportunity to get two. Or three, or four.
Well, if they can, yeah, figure out how to do that road business, okay.
Well, they're the state of Iowa, so.
Yeah.
Could I ask Stan a question about, where in prison industries are they building these?
At Newton,
Oh, at Newton, at the work release, yeah, okay, because I have been to every single prison in this whole state, because I was involved in programs for prisons. Because when I was on the governor's board, both for the old CETA Act and also for the JTPA Act, why it was my suggestion that we use discretionary funds. I happen to have a lifer friend that's in prison, and Hal Ferrier, who was the director of prisons, appointed me to the advisory committee at Mitchellville at that time. And, you know, I knew what little they earned, and I kind of had free reign of the prisons when we would go and monitor and a program, you know. Anamosa, I know, was really great, and I didn't know if every prison has some form of prison industries. And that's why I was asking you. They aren't that big in the housing, but, you know,
Well, this program is modeled after the one in South Dakota.
okay.
And apparently at Newton, they have two different facilities. They have a
Yes.
medium and a minimum security.
That work really
And
well.
these houses are actually built outside of both of those. I
Okay.
mean, they're just basically in an open field with,
And I know, yeah, it was, you know, it was my suggestion that we have programs in the prisons, because at that time it was costing at least $25,000 a year per inmate for them to be in prison. And I noted after being on this advisory committee, number one, a lot of the people don't have any parenting skills. They don't have any job skills. And so anyway, it was taken up as a good idea.
The state of Iowa it would be well worth their while to invest in that
Well,
very
and for the
type of
most,
thing.
yeah, for the most part, unless you want recidivism, for the most part, you know, almost everybody in prison is going to get out someday. And so they need,
Yeah,
you know,
and we
a
want them to
job
be
and-
productive
right.
in good ways.
right.
Okay, let's move on to manure management, Lowell.
Burnside, 4051 Underwood Avenue, Riceville, Primrose South Farm, 4417 Primrose Avenue, Little Cedar, Riceville Site, 3247 400 Street, Riceville, and Shadow Finisher Farm, Underwood Avenue, Riceville.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Okay, we'll adjourn this meeting. Rich?
You know, I would like some information on how much you would expect, how you get in, what your total budget, and what our needs are, I mean, needs. And I knew we got the maximum, and when you told me.
Okay, I'll try to remember and stuff.
I'm sorry. It's usually really not good stated for,
Depending on the year,
I know.
to cover it, there's a little.
he's running as a Democrat.
And I'd like to know how much those funds.
Yeah, they appointed him, they held the county convention a few weeks
That
ago.
wouldn't cover it. You couldn't.